Next, we are going to welcome Hala Zeine from the SAP. Hala, stage is yours.
Hey.
However, we have some warm-up questions.
Good morning.
By the way, I asked from her from back room that if she could reveal me something secret from her life, and she said, I don't have any secrets. Is that true?
That is absolutely true.
You are like open book. Hey, SAP was once a 5-people startup company.
Absolutely.
And today we are in a startup event. What is left of that startup spirit at SAP as per today?
Well, you still do see a few developers running around working Birkenstocks in their shorts with their ties.
Yes.
But other than that, we continue always to harvest this. We have an internal entrepreneurship program where people can be inside of SAP, get a great idea, a moonshot, and then get a chance to grab a team and work together in an entrepreneurial mode, and behind them is the full power of SAP. And so we do continue to operate in that mode.
That's great. Monique was just talking about gender parity. How do you support gender parity within SAP?
Oh, it's a very, very big topic with us. I mean, in the IT industry in general, we do see a lack of women everywhere. I'm one of those women, so I would know. But we do basically look a lot at various programs to help women reach, especially management positions. We don't really have a problem on the developer level. There we see women, men engaging all the time, but it really is a challenge when they start moving up. And so we have a lot of programs. One of them we call LEAP, where basically females get special mentorship programs in order to really encourage them to move up the ladder.
Great answer. Stage is yours.
Thank you.
Rock the people. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, let's get started. We need the sound. You have sound?
No worries.
So, good morning. Glad to be here. I'm Hala Zeine. I head up SAP portfolio and pricing. What does that mean? That simply means my job is every morning to wake up and advise the SAP executive board about where we should invest next as a company. What's the focus innovations that we want to go after? Then after they've decided, help commercialize, price it all, and get it out to over 6,000 salespeople we have worldwide. So, I'm here to tell you the story of SAP, who we are, here to tell you why we're excited to work with you, and why I think you should be excited to work with us too. So, our story as SAP, as already mentioned, started many, many years ago when SAP itself was a startup. And we were a startup with 5 founders, courageous ex-IBM developers who believed that they can release real-time data within business has true value. So they focused on 3 chains within every business. That's the financial chain, the supply chain, and the people chain. And with that, they created an integrated system that then basically started what we now know as SAP. In 1983, globalization really took off. Global companies starting to hear the buzz about those 5 developers out in the south of Germany doing some crazy stuff, and really got excited that this can really be the one place for their systems, for their core business processes to really operate. So we started globalizing, we started addressing large global enterprises and helping them globalize. And this helped us now achieve about we're in 120 different countries worldwide, serving our customers. Then, of course, 1992, 1993, the internet started taking off. And so with that internet, we introduced SAP R3. Basically, our founders replatformed everything they had done before based on a 3-tier architecture. The R stands for real-time, the 3 stands for 3-tier, where they separated the database, the application, and the user experience layers from each other in order to help the customers innovate quickly on these processes. And finally, here we are today. Welcome to the digital age. So as of last year, we've introduced yet another replatforming of our solution, where we've taken our core business processes and knowledge that we have, and we've put it inside of what we now call S/4HANA. And this was introduced last year, and it's the digital core helping our customers move into this digital age. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit. But we believe the best is yet to come, and I'm going to talk a lot about where we believe the world is going. So at SAP, part of advising the board, my huge part of my job is to figure out what are our customers' real needs. And customers really center stage at our company. So what we do is we're just obsessed with it. We look at it all the time. What are the technologies and what is the power that this technology will enable the customers to have? We've basically decided a few years ago that cloud is the way to go, and we need to move into the cloud. We need to move all our applications and help our customers transform into the cloud, because only with this deployment and distribution model would we really be able to address our customers' key needs that are coming out from an age which is unlike anything we've ever seen before. So let me take you through a few of these points. The world is massively connected. Trade right now is so connected. There's 65 trillion transactions happening online every day digitally between companies, between consumers to companies. So we at SAP believe that this connection has a lot of friction right now, and that friction needs to move away. It will move away by enabling companies to network within each other. This is why we're very excited about Concur, which is our travel and expense network. We also have Ariba for our supplier network, and there are many, many more network possibilities within the enterprise software to connect this trade and make it truly frictionless. Secondly, we're looking at Internet of Things. It's a huge thing. Everybody talks about it. I'm sure we'll talk about it here a lot. There's 75 billion devices connected. There's more data constantly every day being produced. Customers expect and want to be able to mine through that data to try the true business insights and change their business processes based on that data. And this is coming more and more and more, and it will transform business processes and the way business is conducted as we see it today. We're also looking at millennials. There is this workforce which has the pleasure of always making me feel very old. Basically, this workforce was born with a PC in every house. There was a personal computer in their house when they were growing up. Not only that, but by the time they were 10, they already had an iPhone. I mean, I remember when the iPhone was launched. So with their smartphones and their PCs growing up in this way, they're used to mining through massive amounts of data, and they work a little different. And when they enter the business enterprises and work for our customers, or work for us, quite frankly, they have an expectation of that system. They expect the system to be very responsive. Give them the data when they want it, where they want it, and they have a very intimate relationship with their devices. They actually sleep next to their phone. I mean, I do that too, and I think most of us do too. And so they expect the information to do their job, to be available at their fingerprints anytime they're there. And this is ubiquitous. We're also looking at machine learning. I believe the previous speaker was talking a lot about artificial intelligence. Well, in the business world, the expectation is no longer that the data is sitting in the system and the intelligence is sitting in front of the system. It is now the expectation that the intelligence is sitting inside of that machine, and that this machine is helping me to do my job. So to give an example, we of course have a recruiting system where basically you're able to manage all the CVs, look at everybody who's applied for your positions, and so on and so on. So a few weeks ago, I had an opening in my department, and I received 80 applicants for this job opening. 80 applicants. I have to read 80 CVs. Each CV is like 5 pages long. I can spend 2 days doing this. Instead, what we've done is through machine learning, we've taught the machine to match, the system to match what is the best likely candidate to that specific job description that I have written. Then the system ranks them and tells me likelihood, and then I can select and pre-select for me what are the most relevant resumes. That is a very simple example of machine learning helping me do my job better every single day. And we look at the most boring processes and look at how can we optimize them and make sure that the intelligence is not only in front of the machine, but is also inside the machine. We're also looking at this API economy. So we talked about this massive amounts of data. We've talked about the frictionless transactions between the various companies. So now what we really need to look at is how do we enable this all to get integrated together? The best way to do that is to harness it, is to open up our APIs, our own APIs from within the core, which every enterprise uses, to run their own business, but then also to extend those to basically a very open ecosystem, which is why I'm very excited to be here today. And then finally, as more and more of this data, be it from the devices or be it on our own person, as an employee, as a customer, as just a person working every day, all of our data is in these systems, and we expect security. If you think of personalized medicine, if you think of how long my run was this morning, do I really want that making it all the way into the public? Absolutely not. And so security has become more and more paramount and top of our mind about how do we secure our data centers, but also how do we secure our systems from breakage when we're under attack basically every day. So, with that said, what we're doing is we're reaching out to all the various organizations to work with us because we believe we have something to offer. So we as SAP have 3 key things to offer. The first of all, we have the biggest existing installed base in the world. Most large customers, most Fortune 500 customers, anybody you've ever heard of, is running on SAP. You saw some of that in my previous video. Second of all, we have business expertise. We basically sit at SAP all day long and look at business processes and look at how to optimize those business processes, not only how to automate them, but also how to make them more intelligent, how to change them, how to innovate on them. And third of all, we also have a very, very proliferated enterprise platform, which is in every customer's hands. And this is a huge asset that we tap into, but also we're opening up for everybody else to tap into and innovate on. So let me tell you about each of these points. Those 300,000 customers that I was talking about, they're basically, we serve these customers every single day, and at SAP, the most important thing in the world is really listening to our customers. So how did we get this far? Got this far, we built incredibly, we're listening to our customers in customer council meetings. The customers are always there, engaging with our executive board, advising them on what's next, what's important on their minds. And those customers are also talking to our experts in industry panels. They're talking to our experts into line of business panels. So we're constantly engaging and listening to those customers. And we take pride that whenever such a customer meeting takes place, we're bringing forward our best expert in order to show credibility and re-emphasize that business expertise and technology expertise credibility time and time again. Every customer meeting is like a first customer meeting. Second of all, we never leave a customer behind. No matter how hard the implementation is, no matter what is happening, we'll always say SAP is behind you. So no customer is left behind. We're a very reliable partner, so we'll do whatever it takes to make every one of those customers so happy, so successful, that they're willing to show up on stage and talk about their successes to SAP. And third of all, we build incredibly intimate relationships with those customers. We have account management teams in over 120 countries, and those teams' job is really to take the company's, our customers' strategy and link that to technology and to the IT strategy, and then help them find a way forward. We have huge business transformation programs going on right now to help customers move into the digital age. So basically, the secret formula is 3 things: credibility, reliability, and intimacy of those relationships. Now, after 40 years of business, we have achieved a tremendous amount of knowledge around the business processes, and we came to the conclusion that business processes are not all moving at the same pace. Some of those processes are pretty stable. We put those inside the digital core. Stable processes are things like financials, things like your material numbers, your overall company hierarchy. But then you start moving into more edge type of applications, like your customer engagement solutions, or you look at your supplier management solutions, and asset and fast-moving assets with supply chain and manufacturing, or you're even looking at the various workforce management, recruiting capabilities, and HR management capabilities. These tend to move at a faster speed. So what we've done is we've taken the various assets and put them into the core assets and put them into what we call the digital core. That would be S/4HANA, focusing on the financial chains, focusing on the stable processes within the business. And then we have expanded that into various other applications that go surround our digital core. Now, to give a point about this, so for example, if you go into a Under Armour store that is one of our customers, basically, as a customer, you engage with this company in a completely different way. You're able to engage with this company online and in the store simultaneously. They know who you are, you might have a Fitband, or you might have their app online, and they know what you have purchased. This is all stuff that was not really possible a few years ago, but now we know it. So, as you walk into the store, and then it recognizes, hey, hello, you're Hala, and you love the color pink when you run. Great, so it will recommend to me what is the most likely shirts that I would buy. It'll make me a special offer, and then I will go to the store and I will buy that. As I purchase that, right away, the inventory knows there's one less shirt in the store, inventory is informing suppliers, and the manufacturing chain gets started and the supply chain gets started, and my purchase gets booked into the general ledger so that the company can recognize that revenue and account for it appropriately. And so as you can see, I've just moved through all the various applications. And oh, by the way, I was serviced by an incredibly nice salesperson, and that salesperson is being also managed by the system. So this is how basically business processes flow between these various areas, but all the data at the end, the basic customer data, the basic financial data, the material data is all sitting within that digital core, but the innovation around what my app looks like and how my customer interaction is in the store, the innovation about whether or not I'm really doing a continuous PRM or I just do it once in a while, is all changing at a very, very fast pace. And in order to encourage this fast pace of innovation on business processes, we're very much committed to not only ensuring that we are disrupting and innovating, but that we are working with disruptors and innovators like you. And so we believed, we went ahead and we invested very heavily in HANA because there's massive amounts of data, and that data needs to be processed real time to provide meaningful insight. And HANA is basically our database, which is a real-time, in-memory database to allow the creation of those insights and take them out of the systems. It also unifies between our digital core and what we call the HANA Cloud Platform, which is where these innovation processes are sitting on. And in the HANA Cloud Platform, we've opened up the API Hub so that everybody can bring in their own APIs where you want to innovate, or you can reuse some of SAP's own APIs. This was just announced a month ago, and there will be a huge momentum around this, as we are committing of taking our 40 years of expertise and opening it up for you so that you can start harnessing and using that as you innovate and disrupt those processes for the customers. And they are ripe for disruption, as we've seen from the new trends that we're seeing in the market. So, I believe I was just asked how I feel about startups and why we work with, and when we were a startup. Well, we're enamored by startups. When we go into our development community, all we do is talk about how can we have a startup mentality? How can nothing is holy. Let's disrupt everything. Let's innovate. And this type of startup mentality is not only within our company, but we believe you have this spirit that we need to tap into and work together with us. Okay, even though I'm in my corporate suit, but hopefully you'd still want to work with us. in order for us to really together give the best value for our customers. So we at SAP put 3 things in place for us to work together. So we've introduced the Innovation Center Network, and basically the Innovation Center Network is looking at what are the areas that SAP was focusing on the next level of innovations. Those right now include machine learning, artificial intelligence. We're looking at what processes can we optimize and disrupt via this new capability. And second of all, we're also looking a lot at what is the meaning of the blockchain architecture and how can we use that in enterprise software to further secure the software. So they look at very specific topics, and then they work together with startups on a peer-to-peer level, and we open up access to our partners and to our customers and ecosystem in order for us to innovate together. Second of all, we introduced the Startup Focus Program. The Startup Focus Program basically works with startups who want to innovate within the enterprise space, and they help provide them with the technologies like HANA and HANA Cloud Platform at no charge, and then they work with them, helping them to open up to our own customer base, get access to customers, get access to networks, and even helping them really hone in sometimes at the very, very early stages of what exactly is that idea and how would that idea really get monetized in the market. And here we've had success of working with over 3,200 startups, of which 200 of them have been able to create products that our global workforce is selling across the entire SAP customer base. And finally, we also have Sapphire Ventures, and Sapphire Ventures is our investment arm with about $1.4 billion under management right now, and they've been working on helping those startups not only fund their next and scale their business through financial means, but also work very closely with SAP to also open up this customer base and work together with our technology. Some of the startups that you might have heard of that we've worked with are Apigee, Box, and also LinkedIn. So, in general, what we bring in is we bring in access to a great customer installed base. We bring in access to great technology like HANA and HANA Cloud Platform. And why do we do this? Well, as I said, we do this because we feel we can also learn from you. When an SAP employee is sitting with you, yes, they may have this SAP business card that says vice president or something else, but hey, they are very much in love with working as a concept with a startup, with looking at how do we engage together and how do we think of things different so that we don't have an SAP groupthink. And we believe in the law of prosperity. The more open the environment is, the more we can all benefit. And with that, I'd like to close and thank you all for having me today and look for some questions. Thank you.
We need to have people listen.
I'm cut off. No, I'm not.
Now you're not.
So now you have an excellent chance to ask questions from one of the biggest software companies in the world, which have had fairly good success in the last, 30 years. So we can take a few questions. So first question, anyone? Oh, there's the first question.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
So it seems that actually you are the only real big European software company. So what do you think that it's like this, that most of the big software companies come from America, not from Europe?
I actually never figured out why that is. Because I think that basically we find great developers all over Europe. So we have huge centers in Prague, we have huge centers in Germany, we have huge centers in Ireland, and so we're finding great developers everywhere we go. I actually never really understood why that is the case. But I do think that the ability to get to funding is sometimes much easier in the US, and that might be one of the reasons, but actually I really never figured out why that is. And when we basically, a few years ago, 10 years ago, when I was still at SAP, we had actually acquired a Finnish company which also did a great software for customer engagement via the call center. So we do see those, but we have not seen anyone else get to size, and we don't really have an exact theory why that is, although we do encourage and partner with a lot of European companies.
I have a question as well. Out of the 10 biggest software companies, 2 are European, SAP and then Spanish Amadeus, correct?
Yes.
But how come in gaming there are huge companies, Finland, Sweden and so forth, who are competing fairly well against Americans?
I think it's not only in gaming, I think also in Berlin there's a huge scene that is coming up. Where I think we just talked this morning about Zalando and various other innovations. So we do see that coming more and more. But I think it's much easier, much more nimble. I mean, if you look in the enterprise space in general, it's a very difficult space to enter due to this access and due to the requirement of corporations that when they really trust your system and they're running an entire organization, if we would have a system shutdown of 5 minutes on a Daimler production line, we have just caused that company massive amounts of money. And so the rigor that they go through in selecting who's going to work with me is very, very important. And the standard for that type of software is very much different than, you know, if my video game fell out or whatever else it might be, or my Uber taxi did not show up. So I think part of it is this very, very high expectations of customers, of high reliability and high availability of the system. And also then we have a lot of laws in order to meet whenever we do this. So going into 120 countries means we have we have a huge currency thing going on, we have a huge tax thing going on, we have a huge translation, globalization, localization that works on this solution. Because whenever you start working even with a smaller company, all of a sudden they're like, oh, but I have a subsidiary in Finland, and then the system has to speak Finnish. Right, and actually perform and if they have employees in Finland, we have to do Finnish payroll. In fact, I almost became an expert on Swiss payroll by accident one time, and that is a very, very complicated thing to do. So
did you manage to negotiate for yourself really a good deal with Swiss authorities for your personal tax?
You know, it's very, very difficult.
It's very difficult.
Yes.
Okay, let's have another question. I think we have 1 minute left, so we could have maybe one question. Anyone?
Okay.
If not, I have a final question. How long you will hang around, and are you going to talk with the startup companies here?
I'm going to have lots of meetings in the next few days. I'm happy to meet a few more people, and I look forward to chatting with all of you. I'll be hanging around here for the next 2 days.
All right, let's give a big hand to Hala. Thank you.